let's start working with the raw budget and making the pretty one. So if you go to the raw budget tab, so I'm going to click on the raw budget tab, we want to put all of this on the Learn Part 1 tab where we're going to start. So I'm going to go to the Raw Budget tab. We want to highlight all the information. You can highlight a cell, or you can highlight, if you click on A, it will highlight everything in that column. If you click on 5, it will highlight everything in that row. You could click on A and move over and highlight everything. The easiest way to highlight everything is to come right up to this little triangle and click on that highlight everything. Now, I'm not so into memorizing shortcuts. Shortcuts are great, but teaching shortcuts is sort of weird because people just don't remember them unless you use them a lot. But copy and paste is like a universal thing. And so to copy everything on your computer, there's a Control, CTRL key. Control, so push that down and then hold C. And you should see that it sort of put like a little box around it. That copied it. Now I want to paste it into the next tab. So go over to the next tab, click on that, and I'm going to go up to A1. This is cell A1. And to paste, it's Control and hold down the Control. Now hit V. So Control C, Control V is how to copy and paste. You will use that lots and lots as you work with Excel. So you can practice. Like I'm just going to click on, let's click on cell C25. So when I clicked on cell C25, see how up here in the name box it says C25? What if I really wanted C17? I could type C17 there and it takes me to C17. I personally very rarely use this. I just like to click on using my touchpad, click on wherever I want to be. But if we go to C17, let's just practice copy. So Control C, go over somewhere else, Control V. So I pasted it. Now, that is not, we don't want it there, we're just practicing. So there's one other Control key, and then these are the only shortcuts that I'm going to ask you to memorize. But we want to undo, because I don't want that. Undo is Control Z, which undoes the last thing that you did. So I could come here and type stuff, and go down and type more stuff, and that's junk. So to get rid of it, Control Z gets rid of it, Control Z gets rid of it, and it keeps going backwards and backwards. So Control C is copy. Control V is paste. And Control Z is undo. This C, by the way, is lowercase. All right, so those are the 3 shortcuts that I'm going to ask you to know. Now, I don't want that there. That's not part of my budget, so I'm going to get rid of it. Control Z, keep going. Okay, so now let's go ahead and we're going to start turning this into the pretty budget. By the way, I now do not want this raw budget tab. I don't need it, so I could hide it. So you can click on it. I'm going to select it. Now right click and you can hide and it will go away. That's not essential, but I don't need it right now because I'm going to keep going back and forth between the pretty budget and the learn budget. If you wanted it back, you could click on the learn, right click, unhide the raw budget, yes, and there it is. But I'm going to hide it again. So I'm going to click on it, right click, hide it, and now it's gone. Okay, so I want to start turning the pretty budget into my raw budget here. And this part is going to be about using the font and the alignment sections in the Excel ribbon. There are so many options. This course is going to just cover a small sample of what could be covered. Now, when you're dealing with font, it gives you these options, but if you wanted to see the options in entirety, you can always hit this little arrow and it expands everything. So for example, here, for the font, you can click on an arrow. If this wasn't, let me get rid of that. You can click on the arrow and it will give you lots of options. Same thing here for the font size, click on the arrow, or you can click that arrow and it comes up with everything right in front of you. I really don't use that much. I usually use just these buttons unless I need something expanded. But same here with alignment. There are lots of options, but if you wanted to see all the options together, you can click the arrow and get lots of options together. Okay, so the first thing that we will do is, let me see, it wants what is in row 1. It's a much bigger font. Let's say that that's like font 16. So I'm going to come back to Learn 1, and what's in row 1, I want to be font 16. So I'm going to come here, it's at 11, I'm going to go to 16. Now, it was also a different type of font. And if I remember correctly, let's see, which font was it? And it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to choose a font here. We can't match it exactly. I'm going to choose Arial Black. Okay, let me go back. Close enough. And so also, this looks bolded. Now, Arial Black looks bolded, but I want to even bold it more. Actually, I might want to take it off black. Let's just go to Arial. So now it's Arial, but I want to bold it, so that's bold. Okay, I don't believe that's italicized. These are italicized. So that looks good. But what we want to do is we want to give ourselves more room. So the way in the Pretty Budget, it has monthly and then it has the money in underneath. So I want to expand this big enough so that I could see the word monthly. But the money in, I want it to go onto the neck. I want it to go underneath. And so that is the wrap. We're going to wrap the text so it doesn't spill off in the cell. So you can hit wrap and there we go. And so same thing here. I want the monthly to show, but I want the rest of what's here. You can't even see it. If we come up here to our bar, we see what's in that cell. Just like on there, we see the whole thing, but here we don't see the whole thing, though we can see that what is written there is really monthly money out, but I want it to wrap, so I'll use the wrap. I also want money out to be on the same row, so I'm going to make that a little bigger. Okay, so that's good. Now, what we have, though, is that these are centered. So let's go ahead. Everything here is going to be centered. In fact, everything that is in column A, B, and C is centered. So let me click on everything, and we're going to center. So center is right here. This is left aligned. This is right aligned. So everything's on the right, and this is centered. Okay, now this is really shoved together. We want to make this bigger. I could either click there and manually move it, or if I hover over it and double click, it will automatically make it as big as it needs to be. Okay, good. And I think we will work on the next part in the next video.